Welcome to Mom Talk. Victoria and I are so happy for y'all to listen to our guest today. She is a major influence on how we both parent and how we are as moms. She has raised two amazing girls. One is married, one is in college, and we've known Amy for 10 plus years, and she's helped us navigate our motherhood. So we want to welcome Amy Painter, the one, the only.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I know. This is exciting. I'm excited for y'all.
Okay, so since your girls are grown and you've made it,
I've made it.
because they're so amazing,
Thank you.
take us back to your pregnancy with Auburn.
Okay. Let's see. Chris and I knew we wanted kids quickly. It still took us about a year to get pregnant
Okay.
with Auburn. And at the time, you really just didn't think too much about why is this taking so long. It just happened when it happened then. She'll be 23 this year. Let's see. She was due in February, mid to end of February of 2001. But around October of 2000, I started getting sick. I didn't know what was going on. My doctor was concerned about some swelling. She started monitoring my pregnancies quite often, actually. She had to take some urine samples and then determined based on several things, but primarily swelling, because that was the most visual, that I had toxemia. So I had preeclampsia and toxemia.
Okay, and what are those?
So that is, I don't know if they've redefined it at this time, but at that time, it is just a combination of swelling, elevated blood pressure, and protein spilling out of your urine, or like into your urine, but out of your kidneys or something like that.
Okay.
So I had elevated protein in my urine. My blood pressure was through the roof. I was placed on bed rest. That was a fun Thanksgiving. I had to carry around a red urine box and keep it in my mother-in-law's refrigerator
Oh, in the fridge.
during Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving.
Pardon my urine box.
Don't mind it.
Don't mind it. So yeah, I had toxemia with her, and you're so used to seeing yourself every day, you don't think you look as sick as you actually are.
Okay.
So at that time, I was I don't even know, like I just worked all the time. So when they told me I had to go on bed rest, I was like, what are you talking about?
Did you listen?
I did.
Okay.
I did listen. I was at home. I was basically babysat by my mother-in-law.
Okay.
I couldn't have any sodium. It was Mrs. Dash everything. It was terrible. My blood pressure got so high in, I think, the very first week, like the first day or two of December. I was at a doctor appointment. She was like, you need to go straight to the emergency room. I was like, okay. They admitted me, sent me to Vanderbilt, got my blood pressure down. I think I was there a couple of days. They were like, you need to follow up with your OB. Okay, sure. And of course, at that time, like insurance isn't letting you stay.
Oh, right.
I'm laying on my side. There's no just cause for me to stay in the hospital. So they sent me on my way. And of course, with this, and there's no rhyme or reason why you get it.
It's just luck of the draw.
It's just luck of the draw. You get it or you don't. You could get it with your first, third, and fourth pregnancy and never have it with your second, never have it with any others you have. So that's always questionable. You don't know if you're going to get it again. But ended up going to my OB the next day. And of course, I'm up out of bed, so my blood pressure shoots up through the roof. She's like, you're going straight back to the hospital.
Could you tell it was high? Like, did you feel even worse?
No, I didn't feel bad.
Okay.
I knew I looked bad, but I didn't
You felt
feel
fine.
bad. I felt fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt fine.
So you're bored because you feel
I am
fine.
bored out of my mind
Yeah.
because all I can get up and do is take a max 10-minute shower and I can go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's your
That's
restriction?
it. That's my restriction. All day. I'm on the couch on my side. One or the other. Do not get up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was terrible. I can say I didn't have the best experience at the hospital
Uh-oh.
here. That was rough. We're young, very young, actually. My mom was with us. It was Gateway at the time. I was so swollen they couldn't get an IV line in my arm. So they couldn't find a vein because I was so swollen. So they put a manual cuff on my right arm. Chris is with me in the hospital. Mom's like seated off to the side. Chris is with me. And the anesthesiologist on staff, who happened to be a friend of my OB's, is like, I don't even know, like pumping the manual cuff to get all my blood to rush down to my arm so they can get a line in my arm or in my hand.
Okay.
I'm silently crying, thinking, please don't let my baby die. And my mom is over in the corner, later tells me she's crying. All she's thinking is, God, please don't let my baby die.
Yeah, you're her baby.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, the anesthesiologist looks at me with tears pouring down my face and he says, get over it.
No.
It's
What?
only gonna get worse from here.
What, in regards to having a child or still being pregnant, or
I don't know.
what a pep talk.
What a pep talk.
Wow.
Stop crying. Knock it off.
Yeah, suck it up.
Suck it up. It's only gonna get worse from here. Chris became unhinged.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
He about lunged across the bed, told him to get out and never come back.
Good for him.
I mean, that was crazy.
How are you a medical professional and that insensitive?
I have no
Right.
clue.
Okay.
When we ended up telling my OB about it after the fact, she was like, oh, and said his name. And we were like, yes, that's what he said. She was like, I cannot believe it. I was like, believe it.
Believe it.
That's what he said to me. I'm already scared to death. I think my baby's going to die.
Right.
And here we are. Get over it.
Mm.
Wow.
It was something.
Yeah, that is unpleasant.
Needless to say, with our second child, we did not go back to that hospital.
But
We
not-
went directly to Nashville, which is where, our kids have their care now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got sent to Vanderbilt that time. They told me they wouldn't let me go. They didn't care what insurance said.
Okay.
So fun thing, but also not, because, of obviously the reason I was there is I got 2 ultrasounds a day. My girlfriends who I had gone to college with had gotten their nursing degrees from Austin Peay. A couple of them had jobs at Vanderbilt in the maternity ward, or they were working in the nursery. So they were checking on me constantly. One was my actual nurse.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. And so, let's see. One day they came in and gave me an ultrasound, and Auburn it was so funny because if I'm seated upright, she was sitting inside me like cross-legged Indian style, looking out.
Out.
She was doing some yoga.
She was doing some yoga. She was in a yoga pose. But that particular day, her head had not grown. So they were taking measurements twice a day to make sure she's growing. And so that day, her body had grown, her head did not. So they scheduled me an emergency C-section.
Same day.
Same day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did you think when they told you that?
I don't even think C-section had crossed my mind. It was crazy. I do want to back up. At the time when I was being sent to Vanderbilt the second time, the NICU doctor at Gateway, and I don't know if he knew I was a mom that was going to have a baby early. I don't know if he heard about me, if someone sent him to me. I don't know. But this man comes in our room and sits Chris and I down, and he was like, before you go, I want to tell you, you're probably going to have your baby early. This is what you are today, whatever I was at that time. He was like, you're going to hear words like A, B, C, and D. And this is what they all mean. This is what I want you to remember to expect. They should show you the nursery. They should show you what your baby is going to be hooked up to, what it's going to look like with all these cords and, lines and all this stuff coming in and out of your child. So I was so thankful for him, because when we got up there and I got stable, Chris and I were probably the next day taken into the NICU. And they're like, today you are 28 and 5. I'm going to show you 3 babies today that were born the same day your baby is now. And there are a slew of things different with every single one of them. So we're telling you, we don't know how your baby's going to come out, what's going to be wrong with it, if anything. You know, we just don't know. So there are all these babies that were, you know, it was just so, I was so thankful that he had given us the heads up, the vocabulary, you know, just a warning.
Yeah, because nobody knows what to expect with their first child.
No.
And
much less this huge curveball.
Right.
Yeah, huge curveball. So we were, obviously I don't want to say educated, but we weren't totally in the blind.
dark.
We're not in the dark going into this. So I was thankful for that. But yeah, I was scheduled for an emergency C-section.
And did you deliver at 28 weeks, 5 days, or did you make it
I was 29 and 6.
Okay.
I was 29 and 6. She was born, she was 2-1. I think she got down to 113, if I remember right.
Wow,
It was
tiny.
So tiny. And I was so medicated. I don't even remember the first days of her life. Thank God, you know, Chris is just, like, he would check on me. But mostly I just wanted him with her.
Right.
Because, you know, I just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had me off. They had me on magnesium drip. Were y'all on a drip with your C-sections? Magnesium at all?
My sister was. It looked like a torture.
Yes, it's torturous. It burns. It is like fire running through your veins. So I had to be off that 24 hours before they would even let me see her.
Wow.
So I didn't get to see her, didn't get to touch her, didn't anything her.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
A drip,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be off 24 hours.
Off 24 hours. And so they wheeled me in, and I just remember being so out of it because when they were prepping me for surgery, I was so swollen. They couldn't get a line in me anywhere. They couldn't pull blood. They had to pull a female surgeon out of surgery to get a PICC line in my neck. So I'm on this table that they had to invert, and I cannot remember Demerol. They kept shooting me up with Demerol. I don't even know how many shots of Demerol I had. But they would like try to get the PICC line in my neck, and then they would move to under my collarbone. And every time they moved under my collarbone, I could feel the PICC line scraping the bottom of my bone. Finally, they got it in. And I don't know who the woman was. I wish I knew, because I would have written her a thank you letter. But they had my whole body covered and just exposed what they're trying to work on. And in the middle of this, of course, Vanderbilt's a teaching hospital. These kids come in on their rounds.
These students are everywhere.
They're standing at the foot of my bed. Somebody's reading off my assessment. And this surgeon is like, get out.
Oh.
Get all those students out.
They're not learning
This is
today.
not the
They're not
time.
learning today.
Not on
This is
this
not
one.
the time. And so, you know, I'm just like, still like I was back at Gateway, like the tears silently
Yeah.
falling. She left, and I don't know what they were doing. I was actually alone for several minutes, and she came back in, and she just sat there and held my hand until they wheeled me out.
sweet.
It was so sweet.
That is.
I wish I knew who she was. So, C-section, don't remember anything at all. Totally zoned out, because I'm sure that Demerol caused, you know, like definitely gave me some of that cloudiness.
So you weren't put under, but you were not aware.
Not aware at all.
So could Chris hold her or touch her within the first 24 hours, or was she too small?
He could touch her. He could not hold her.
Okay. I was going to say, like, could y'all feed her, or?
She was on a tube for feeding. I will touch on this because y'all have heard this part of the story for sure. And it's not anything, think that's crazy to say, but I cannot tell you how many people we had praying for her.
Oh.
Like.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what got y'all through.
Yeah, it's what got us through.
Yeah.
I just get emotional still thinking about it, and it's been 23 years. And I just think how many prayer lists she was on. And I could not believe it when I came to. You know, Chris is like, there's nothing wrong with her.
The best news.
Nothing wrong with her. The best news.
Yeah, such relief, I bet.
Yeah. And I mean, so all she had to do was grow. That was it. Yeah. Nothing wrong with her. Lungs were
Like, I'm so
developed.
thankful, but it's like unbelievable.
It's
to be that early.
unbelievable to be that early and nothing is wrong. They did give me surfactant shots back at Gateway. They wanted me to have them. I don't know that timeline. That's so blurry. But they wanted me to have 3 of them. And what this does is it's a drug that helps speed up the development of a baby being born. Their lungs.
Oh, okay.
A baby in utero.
It's helping enhance her lungs.
Yes,
okay.
It's getting her lungs to where they should be when she's born.
Okay.
I don't know who makes up some of these medicines. I just think they're brilliant sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know how you remember the name of that.
Yes. So I got 2 of the 3 shots, but her lungs were fully developed. She could breathe on her own. She cried. She couldn't eat on her own because her esophageal flap was not fully developed.
Okay.
So she was on a tube, and we had issues with that, for a year afterward. But yeah, she just had to grow. It's really strange to look at your baby, and they call it an isolate. Some, like our parents were like, she's in that incubator.
Right.
And Chris is
Like a chicken.
It is not an incubator. But she's see-through. Like, her skin is transparent.
So thin.
It's so thin, you can see everything. And to watch your baby grow, to watch their little booty actually develop.
Yes.
Because she did not have
no
fat.
She had a hole on her back.
She had a hole on her back. And we know what that was for.
Right.
But yeah, it was just crazy.
And how long was she in the NICU?
Not long. Because I know God intervened in that entire process. So her doctor, just randomly, you get assigned a doctor who's on rounds when a baby is born in the NICU.
Like a pediatric?
Yes,
okay.
A pediatric specialist, I guess. She was assigned a doctor that actually lived in Clarksville at the time.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. So he came and met with us and told us, would tell us every day of her progress. He was monitoring her. He knew, where we worked in town. It was just the connections were not coincidental.
No.
And so he was able to monitor her and arrange for her transport back to Gateway, probably within, she wasn't up there long. She was up there probably 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's not long.
Yeah, not long at all.
Age
Not long at
size.
all. Because she was
Fine,
well enough.
Well enough to transport.
Yeah, so they transported her. Her assigned nurse in the NICU. She was from Clarksville. Yeah, Carrie. I still see her at work randomly.
Aw.
And so she was sent here, and of course we're from here, so we knew some of the nurses, there at the time, and so basically it became super convenient. I can tell you that.
Right, closer than driving to Nashville.
Yeah, closer than driving to Nashville. Of course, y'all have had C-sections. They don't want you wearing a seatbelt.
Right.
It just was put my nerves on end when we would have to drive up there and I can't have a seatbelt on because I'm in a fresh out of a C-section.
Did you feel better immediately? Everything that was bothering you during the pregnancy, did it go away immediately?
No, my blood pressure, oddly, I did not feel a blood pressure issue until they put me on medicine to bring it down. It made me sick. It made me dizzy. And I just couldn't do it because I couldn't function. I couldn't get off the couch. So I took myself off that. Probably should have discussed that with a doctor. But yeah, took myself off that. And it did just naturally come down on its own. The swelling went away. The protein in the urine was corrected. All of this just goes away. And it's cured by your birth.
Okay.
You give birth and it just starts going away.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the story of Auburn. Wow. She was in Gateway not too much longer. They sent her home at about 4.5 pounds. She had to pass a car seat test. That she wasn't too slumped over. She could breathe on her own. They monitored her oxygen. I think we had a sleep in. I'm pretty sure we had a sleep in. And Chris and I just joked because we're like, how do people go home with a baby in a day or two? We've had a month to get used to this thing.
Yeah, you had some adjustment time. You got to I'm sure you weren't sleeping much, but you got to sleep without a crying baby.
Yeah.
Did you feel healed when she came home, your C-section, or were you still down?
I was okay. I did force myself to get up and move, but we were also traveling back and forth quite a bit. So I was
really pushing it.
But, you're never prepared for a C-section.
No.
Ever.
Even if you know you're having it.
I knew I was having it, and I was not ready.
You're not prepared. You're not ready. You're not ready. I can only speak for myself. I know there's a reason and a plan for everything, but I felt robbed of a normal, whatever you call that,
whatever
pregnancy. I tell, like, even my own girls now, I'm like, listen, for you to have a normal, quote unquote, pregnancy is a miracle in itself. For not one thing to come up, go wrong, even minor, is a miracle. So I did feel robbed about that.
Pregnancy and C-section?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not how I wanted it to go.
Right. It's not how you envision it when you're like, I'm going to be pregnant and so cute and happy and easy.
Yeah, no. Swollen, hated it, high blood pressure.
Bed rest.
Bed rest. So, yeah.
Well,
It was pretty traumatic.
I feel like it's traumatic.
It is traumatic. But also, I knew we wanted more than one child. So, someone had told me somewhere along the line, you'll forget all this.
Did you?
I did.
You did?
I did.
And how
I
far
forgot-
apart are the girls?
They are 2.5 years.
So you forgot pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I can see you having another one because you want another one, but not forgetting. That's so traumatic.
It was traumatic, but you forget, I think you forget really like how bad it was.
Right.
Not that it was bad, but
Yeah,
how
how
bad
bad.
it was.
Did they say, so did you know going into Abby, this may or may not happen again?
Yes. Yes, I knew it may or may not happen again. That was before I really prayed all the time. I didn't even pray against that. I was like, well, 50-50 shot here.
We'll see.
We'll see how it comes out. Abby was a breeze.
Well, I mean, I think you needed it.
Yeah. Breeze.
You really earned that.
Yeah, she was a scheduled C-section, 38 weeks. VBAC was not an option because since I had not gone into like a full term birthing situation, they didn't really know how my incision was going to be internally.
Okay.
So I was cut horizontally outside and vertically inside. So my new OB did not want me to go full term.
Okay, so 38.
38 was it.
Okay.
So, yeah, 38 was it.
And you weren't sick or anything?
No problems.
Well,
Good for you.
I know.
No problems. She was a cakewalk. There's a running joke between my two girls, and I don't even know. Auburn will say something, and Abby's replies, well, at least I didn't almost kill Mom.
At least I didn't almost kill her.
Yeah.
Oh, she took it all the way.
So, yeah, she takes it all the way.
Well, either way.
And how
they
big
got-
was Abby when she was born?
Abby was right under 8 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good size.
Yeah, good size.
Was that weird?
And you brought her home right away.
And I brought her home right away. Yeah, that was strange.
Like in some ways, she's almost like your first like newborn in the house.
Right. Yeah. Because she was, double Auburn size.
Yeah.
And they're still small. They're still
Right.
small. But yeah, it was strange. And it was strange to bring her right home.
Right.
So that C-section pushed through full. I was at my Kroger pharmacy on the way home from the hospital.
Nope.
You didn't feel bad at all.
No.
Okay.
My pharmacist looked at me because he knew. And he was like, I'll get those to you right away. My pain pills and, whatever else they had sent me home with. But yeah. I ran into somebody we work with, Penny, I think.
Aw.
And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, just getting my medicine. Yeah. On the way home, she's like, I cannot believe it. But yeah.
How did Auburn do when you brought Abby home?
She was really good. She stayed with my in-laws the night that we were going in. And so they brought her up the day of, and I remember Chris putting her on the bed, and I have the cutest picture of it. And she's just looking at her like, what is that?
What is that you brought home?
What is that? She was a very good helper. That's why I wanted them a little closer in age. And I thought as long as I engaged her, that it would be good for her. Can you help Mommy? Do you want to get a wipe? Can you get me a diaper? Can you take this to the trash? And she loved it.
And she's like, yes, I can.
Yeah.
All of it.
She loved it. All of it.
She got a real life baby.
Yeah, she did.
Well,
So-
they're both so perfect.
Thanks.
Their whole lives. Anytime I run into Amy's kids, I have to call her and tell her, or text her and tell her that I love them so much.
They really are the best.
They're good.
Can't
We're
say-
proud.
I know.
I know.
Okay, so what's your favorite age now that you've got 2 adults?
Favorite age? I've listened to y'all's stuff already, so I know what y'all say about your younger kids, and it's true. 2 was nothing. 3 was whoa.
For both of them?
No. Auburn, honestly, they are night and day in every way. She is a strong-willed child. Abby,
That firstborn.
yes.
You're
Strong.
who introduced me to that phrase, and I started reading up about
Yes, Dr. Dawson. Somebody told me about the book, and I read it. I was like, this is her to a T. We thought we
Yes.
were doing something wrong.
But no, it's just her.
But it was just her. And I didn't want to break that. You know,
Yeah, right.
I want her to be strong. I want her to
Yes.
have a voice. I want her to stand up.
Because those are great qualities.
Those are great qualities. I think a lot of parents really struggle. And at first, like I said, it's funny. But Chris and I are like, what are we doing wrong? This kid.
Yeah, we don't have this figured out, this parenting thing.
She was so smart. She's so clever. The things she has said and done over the years, I'm like, oh, you got me on that one. Abby, way more sensitive. Auburn is sensitive, but you just don't see that really a lot. You just have to know that. And I think as a mom, you really see the qualities and the personalities that your kids have, whether they want you to see them or not.
Yeah.
You know they're there. So Auburn is sensitive. You just don't see that the way you see it in Abby.
Yeah.
Auburn, you know, we could spank, and she's like, that all you got? I mean, she's looking at me like, okay, sure. And Abby, you just have to look crossways at, and she is crying, apologizing for I don't know what, and
Bless her heart. I know she never did anything wrong.
yeah. She just sat back and took notes off her older sister.
I mean, that is smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 was not your favorite age.
3 wasn't my favorite age. They argued a lot. That really started to level out around, Auburn was probably 16, which would make Abby 13, 14. And I mean, let's just get real. She had a car and she could go and do and whatever. So I always dreamed of the day that my kids would confide in one another, that they would share with one another before they came to me. And I've hit that spot.
That's so good.
Yeah. They love each other. You know, there's still some bickering. It's minor. You know, Abby's away at school. Auburn's here. She's married. But for the most part, they get along. They're friends. I feel like I've succeeded in that part.
Oh, for sure.
And so, you know, this is where it's good right now.
You're at the sweet spot.
That's where I think it is for me.
Once they're out of the
and
house.
for Chris. Once they're out of the house. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's what you're hearing. Once they're out of the house, that's the sweet spot. It's really cool we have a lot going on right now. So, like, as far as parents, because we have a daughter who got married, we have one who's off at school, you know, and we started to learn how to like backpedal off Auburn, you know, like she started college, we'll give her, you know, she's getting all this much more grace and leniency and things like that. And then, you know, she gets into a serious relationship. Abby goes away to school.
Yeah. You're having a lot of adjustments
We're
at once.
having a lot of adjustments at once. Auburn gets married. Abby goes back to school. You know what I mean? It's just a whole lot. Now I'm having to parent a married woman who is creating her own family, and Chris and I are learning new boundaries. And I think we really do good sticking to those and keeping quiet unless she asks.
Yeah.
Do you want to call me and yell? Do you want to call me and chit chat? Do you want to call me and ask a question? I'm here for all that. So it's been really interesting to watch her and my relationship go from parent-child, even though it will always be that, to more of a friendship.
Yeah, and she's calling
kind of sounding board,
Right.
confiding level.
Yeah, because you did the parenting part so well for
Yes.
so long. Now you get to reap the benefit of being her friend.
Yeah. So we've moved into a whole new spot, and I like it.
You like it?
I do like it.
How was it when they both left the house, though? Like, to move out?
You know, we were being prepared for that the whole time, too. You know, I believe that. So it was fine.
You're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all right.
And Abby being a couple hours away?
Yeah, it's good. You know, we see her a lot in the fall. We'll see her soon. We don't see her much in the spring. I saw a post the other day a friend of mine made, and it said, somebody asked me how I was about how it felt to be an empty nester. And she said, I'm not an empty nester, I'm a bird releaser.
There you go.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, live your life, my little birds.
Aw.
It was sweet. But I was like, oh, yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that. But, you know, Chris and I adjusted well. It's fine.
So what are y'all doing now?
We work. We work more than we worked before, actually.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't travel that much. We're not big on traveling. You know, Chris is really involved in stuff at church. Really, I read a lot.
Yeah.
have quiet time. He travels some for work. That's really it.
Just all the things you didn't get to do for the last 20-something years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just quiet. But we like each other. And I think when you find, too, you hear these crazy stories about married couples or kids
Once
leave
their
the
kids
house,
leave, yeah.
their marriage is over. They quit taking care of themselves. And I will say, Chris and I got a lot of pushback over the years about spending as much time with our kids as we did. Like, I think people assume you don't have a good marriage if you don't make time for yourself and yourself as a couple. And I'm not saying we didn't do that. We did do things without our kids. But for the most part, if our kids weren't welcome or invited, we did not go or attend. And that's not to say it was all the time, but we liked our kids.
Yeah.
We wanted to be with our kids. We enjoyed being with our kids, and our kids were so good.
Right. You could take them anywhere.
Yes, could take them anywhere. Never any disciplinary problems, never problems in school. Like, they always preferred, both of them, to be in an adult setting. They just prefer to be around adults. They're both very mature.
Yeah.
Very mature for their age, always have been. I think some people have opinions on that. They may take them for, I don't know what the word I'm really kind of looking for is. Like, maybe not as personable because they've just always been really mature. So, but that's fine.
Yeah, I could never get that from them.
Yeah.
No.
They have, they're like no nonsense.
Yeah.
They just are. And I think a lot of people think maybe they're sticks in the mud, but that's just not the case.
No, they just have their lives together.
Yeah, they have it together. They seriously have it together.
Yeah, they do.
It's been a good time, a real good time.
I know we say this a lot, but I mean, you got to high five yourself because they are so good.
I mean, that doesn't just happen by chance.
No, I like to think obviously we played some part in that, but honestly, at any time they were free to make their own choices.
Right. They're very smart.
They are smart. They knew there were consequences in our home. Those were laid out from day one. There are consequences to all of our actions. I think a lot of people were surprised when they were growing up that our kids didn't have curfews because I think they know and or assumed that we were very, maybe a little more authoritative in our parenting. So they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean y'all didn't give your kids curfews? I'm like, well, we just don't.
Yeah.
We have rules and expectations. And if you follow them, you pretty much get to do what you want to do. But let me find something out.
Right. I was going to say, I'm sure you knew where they were, what they were doing. I'm sure they came home at a normal time.
Yes, they did come home at a normal time. Their curfew was dictated on what day of the week it was, who they were with, and what they were doing. Okay.
Yeah.
What time y'all think you'll be done? 9:30? Okay, be home by 10.
Right.
Y'all going out afterward? Okay, be home by 11. Let me know where you're going to be. We really did try to let them be responsible in that way, and we never had one issue with that. We had to correct Auburn on curfew a couple of times. I felt like I was channeling my dad. When I tell you 11 o'clock, I mean 11. I don't mean 11:02. That means you are in the house and the door is locked at 11.
Yeah, let me get specific.
Yeah, you're not pulling in the driveway. I actually remember Victoria sharing a story about a documentary you watched following moms and dads who found out they're pregnant.
Yeah, it was called Babies on Netflix.
Yes. And at the base of the brain on humans, when the parents found out they were pregnant, or actually it was when the baby was born, it's what controls worry. And it's like this little thing, and it blows wide open on a mom, and it barely pops open and goes right back to normal on a day.
Sure does. And the mom, it just stays open. It might shrink over time a little bit, but it never closes. It never goes back to normal. It just always.
Yes. And when she shared that with me, we were in curfew challenges. And, I'm waiting up every time. It didn't matter. My kids are out. I never went out, but if Auburn was out, I'm waiting up. I don't care if she's coming home at 9:45, 10:30, 2. You were at a concert and you're coming home at 2. I'm in bed waiting up. Chris does not care. Snoring. He's gotten up to go to the bathroom twice, and he crawls right back in bed and is snoring. And I just thought about Victoria telling me about the show. I'm like, this is never going to stop. So that is one thing about empty nesting I will say is a blessing, is because Auburn's in her own home. I don't worry about her. Part of that has really lessened. And Abby I do worry because she's away, but she's always usually with a group of people. She doesn't go out late at night by herself. She's with friends or, whatever. So with them not right here and me like right on top of them, some of that has actually gotten a lot better. I can breathe a little easier.
Okay, well that is something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're right before then. Y'all know it.
Yeah, it doesn't turn off.
No. Who are you with? What are you doing? Where are you going? What choices are you going to make? Are they going to be the ones that you know that we want you to make, that you should be making for yourself, that's not going to end in some kind of catastrophe?
Yep.
See, I have those concerns sending Mason to daycare right now, and he is definitely going to choose the bad choice every time. So I hope that gets better.
He may not.
Oh.
Man.
Yeah.
So it does get better one day.
Yeah, it gets better. It gets easier. And it gets way more fun. Like, it's so fun at every stage, but it's just a different kind.
Yeah, y'all are hanging out besties.
Yeah, we're hanging out. Auburn, talk to her more now. Like, we talked all the time, but I talk to her more now than we ever really spoke. Same for Abby,
I love that. We talked about this before, too, because Victoria and I have a boy.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
She has no answers for us.
I got nothing on that. I thought I wanted a boy, and clearly God knows what he's doing, because I got 2 girls, and I would not trade it for the world.
Yeah.
My girls they're freaking awesome.
No, they are awesome.
They're just awesome.
We could do a whole episode on
I know,
that.
I'm like, we should.
Yeah, we should.
They're awesome.
Get them on here.
I know, I'm like,
Yeah.
they need to be here. Abby, when are you coming to town?
So, yeah. I wouldn't know what to do with a boy. My sister had a boy, the first boy in our family.
Oh, yeah.
And he and Auburn are the same age-ish. There's about 7 months difference. The first time he spent the night with us, like, she's playing with baby dolls in Quiet Town, and he is jumping from the couch to the ottoman to the chair, back to the couch to the ottoman, so the sharks and the carpet don't get him.
Exactly.
And Chris is
That
like,
sounds
"What
right."
is happening? Yeah, what's going on here?" So,
And it really is that different.
yeah.
It's kind of like that little small tiny worry that opens in dad's brains. The boys have some little tiny fear, but it doesn't matter.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't have a healthy sense of fear.
Yeah.
They're just full throttle from day one.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. And I don't think I could stand it. Like, anytime my nephews, I'm like, I'm on edge. There's going to be blood. I'm like on edge. I don't know how to do it.
So you may have a grandson one day.
I might.
What if you get all grandsons?
Funny you mention that. Because I don't think Abby really cares. Auburn, she's like, all boys. I want all boys. I don't want girls. She didn't do drama her whole life. We had no issues.
So she's not trying to start now.
No, so she's not trying to start now. But you know what? I have told her and my son-in-law, I've already put in my prayer requests for a girl.
Just one.
I just need at least one. Jordan's like, absolutely no, I do not want a girl. I was like, oh,
Well, that's a sealed deal. You're getting one.
yeah, I'm praying about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll get one. Yeah, he does. Neither one of them want a girl.
So
They're
funny.
getting it with all girls.
I think they should.
Yeah, they're going to now.
That's one way to jinx it.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amy,
Yeah.
thank you
You're welcome.
for being on here. We love you so much.
I love you guys.
And we're going to have you back about your more kid stuff with your kids.
Yeah. Love it.
If you'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Sign them up.
Yeah, they'll love to be here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, and tune in to our Instagram page and follow us on the Purple Podcast app or Spotify. Thank you.
Bye.